Cantos 31 to 33 of Book 4 of the Ramayana of Valmiki, translated by Ralph T. H. Griffith. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Om123. Canto 31. The Envoy. Thus Rama spoke, and Lakshman then made answer to the Prince of Man. Yea, if the banner, undertaught by fear of vengeance, break his word, loss of his royal power ere long shall pay the traitor for the wrong. Nor deem I him so void of sense to brave the bitter consequence. But if enslaved to joy he'll lie, and scorn thy grace with blinded eye, then let him join his brother slain, unmeet where such a wretch do reign. Quick rises, kindling in my breast, the wrath that will not be repressed, and bids me in my fury slay the breaker of his fate today. Let Bali's son thy consort trace with bravest chiefs of banner race. Thus spoke the hero, and aglow with rays of battle seized his bow. But Rama, thus in gentler mood, with fitting words his speech renewed. No hero with a soul like thine to paths of sin will ever incline. He who his angry heart can tame is worthiest of a hero's name. Not thine, my brother, me depart, so alien from the tender heart. Nor let thy feet by wrath misled forsake the path they love to tread. From harsh and angry words abstain, with gentle speech a hearing gain, and tax the griever with the crime of failing faith and wasted time. Then Lakshman, bravest of the brave, obeyed the hest that Rama gave, to whom, devoting every thought, the banner's royal town he sought. As Mandar's mountain heaves on high, his carved peak soaring to the sky, so Lakshman showed his dread bow bent like Indra's in the firmament. His brother's wrath, his brother's woe, inflamed his soul to fiercest glow. The tallest trees to earth were cast, as furious on his way he passed. And where he stepped, so fiercely fleet, the stones were shivered by his feet. He reached Kishkinda's city deep, embosomed where the hills were steep, where street and open square were lined with legions of the banner kind. Then, as his lips with fury swelled, the Lord of Raghu's line beheld a stream of banner chiefs outpoured to do obeisance to their lord. But when the mighty prince in view of the thick coming banners drew, they turned them in amaze to seize cracks of the rock and giant trees. He saw, and fiercer waxed his ire, as oil lends fury to the fire. Scarce had the banner chieftains seen that wrathful eye, that troubled mien, fierce as the gods who rules the dead, when turned in wild affright they fled. Speeding in breathless terror all sought King Sugriva's council hall, and there made known their tale of fear, that Lakshman, wild with rage, was near. The king, untroubled by alarms, held Tara in his amorous arms, and in the distant bower with her heard not each clamorous messenger. Then summoned at the Lord's behest, forth from the city portals pressed, each, like some elephant or cloud, the banners in a trembling crowd. Fierce warriors, all with massive jaws, and terrors of their tiger claws. Some matched 10 elephants, and some 100 strength could overcome. Some chieftains mightier than the rest, 10 times 100's force purchased. With eyes of fury Lakshman viewed the Banner's 3-armed multitude, thus garrisoned from side to side, the city walls assault defied. Beyond the moat that guard the wall, advanced the Banner chiefs and all. Upon the plain in farm brigade, impetuous warriors stood arrayed. Red at the sight flashed Lakshman's eyes, his bosom heaved tumultuous sighs, and forth the fire of fury broke, like flame that flashes through the smoke. Like some fierce snake the hero stood, his bow recalled the expanded hood. And in his shaft head, bright and keen, the flickering of his tongue was seen, and in his own all-conquering might, the venom of its deadly bite. Prince Angad marked his angry look, and every hope his heart forsook. Then his large eyes with fury red, to Angad Lakshman turned and said, "Go tell the king that Lakshman waits for audience at the city gates, whose heart, O tamer of thy foes, is heavy with his brother's woes. Bid him to Rama's word attend, and ask if he will aid his friend. Go, let the king my message learn, then hither with all speed return." Prince Angad heard, and wild with grief, cried as he looked upon the chief, "It is Lakshman's self, impelled by ire. He seeks the city of my sire." At the fierce words and furious look of Raghu's son, he quailed and shook. Back through the city gates he sped, and, laden with the tale of dread, sought King Sugriva, filled his ears, and Ruma's with his doubts and fears. To Ruma and the king he bent, and clasped their feet most reverent, clasped the dear feet of Tara too, and told the startling tale anew. But King Sugriva's ear was dulled, by love and wine and languor lulled, nor did the words that Angad spake the slumberer from his trance awake. But soon as Raghu's son came nigh, the startled Banas raised a cry, and strove to win his grace, while dread each anxious heart disquieted. They saw, and as they gathered round, rose from the mighty throng a sound, like torrents when they downward dash, or thunder with the lightning's flash. The shouting of the Banas broke Sugriva's slumber, and he woke. Still with the wine his eyes were red, his neck with flowers was garlanded. Roused at the voice of Angad came 2 Bana lords of rank and fame, one Akshya, one Pravava hight, wise counsellors of gain and right. They came and raised their voices high, and told that Raghu's son was nigh. 2 brothers steadfast in their truth, each glorious in the bloom of youth, worthy of rule, have left the skies, and clothed their forms in man's disguise. One at thy gates in warlike hands, holding his mighty weapon, stands. His message is the charioteer that brings the eager envoy near, ours onward by his bold intent, and by the hest of Rama sent. The gathered Banas saw and fled, and raised aloud their cry of dread. Son of Queen Tara, Angad ran to parley with the godlike man. Still fiery-eyed with rage and hate stands Lakshman at the city gate, and trembling Banas scarce can fly, scathed by the lightning of his eye. Go with thy son, thy kith and kin, the favour of the prince to win, and bow thy reverend head, that so his fiery wrath may cease to glow, what righteous Rama bids thee do, and to thy plighted word be true. Canto 32. Hanuman's Counsel. Sugriva heard, and trained and tried, in counsel to his lords replied. No deed of mine, no hasty word, the anger of the prince has stirred. But haply some who hate me still, and watch their time to work me ill, have slandered me to Raghu's son, accused of deeds I never have done. Now, O my lords, for you are wise, speak truly what your hearts advise, and pondering each event inquire the reason of the prince's ire. No fear have I of Lakshman, none, no dread of Raghu's mightier son, but wrath that fires a friendly breast, without due cause disturbs my rest. With labour light is friendship gained, but with severest toil maintained. And doubt is strong, and faith is weak, and friendship dies when traitors speak. Hence is my troubled bosom cold, with fear of Rama lofty souled. For heavy on my spirit weigh, his favours I can never repay. He ceased, and Hanuman of all the banners in the council hall, in wisdom first and rank expressed the thoughts that filled his prudent breast. No marvel thou rememberest yet the service thou shouldst never forget, how the brave prince of Raghu's seed thy days from fear and peril freed, and Bali for thy sake overthrew, whom Indra's self might scarce subdue. I doubt not Rama's anger burns, for the scant love thy heart returns. For this he sends his brother, him whose glory never waxes dim. Sunk in repose thy careless eye marks not the seasons as they fly, nor sees that autumn has begun, with dark blooms opening to the sun. Clear is the sky, no cloudlet mars the splendour of the shining stars. The balmy air is soft and still, and clear and bright are lake and rill. Thou heedest not with blindest eyes the hour for warlike enterprise. Hence Lakshman hither comes to break thy slothful trance and bid thee wake. Then monarch, with a patient ear, the high-souled Rama's message hear, which, reft of wife and realm and friends, thus by another's mouth he sends. Thou, banner king, hast done amiss, and now I see no way but this. Before his envoy humbly stand, and sue for peace with suppliant hand. High duty bids a courtier seek his master's will, and freely speak. So by no thought of fear controlled, my speech, O king, is free and bold. For Rama, if his anger glow, can, with the terrors of his bow, this art with all the gods subdue, Gandharvs and the demon crew. Unwise to steer his wrathful mood, whose favour must again be wooed. And, most of all, unwise for one, grateful like thee for service done. Go with thy son and kinsmen, bend thy humble head and greet thy friend, and like a fond obedient spouse, be faithful to thy plighted vows. Canto 33. Lakshman's Entry. Through the fair city Lakshman came, invited in Sugriva's name. Within the gates the guardian bands of banners raised their suppliant hands, and in their ordered ranks amazed upon the princely hero gazed. They marked each burning breath he drew, the fury of his soul they knew. Their hearts were chilled with sudden fear, they gazed but dared not to venture near. Before his eyes the city gay with gems and flowery gardens lay. where fane and palace rose on high, and things of beauty charmed the eye, where trees of every blossom grew, yielding their fruit in season dear, to banners of celestial seed, who wore each varied form at need. Fair-faced and glorious with the shine of heavenly robes and wreaths divine, there sandal aloe lotus bloomed, and their delicious breath perfumed the city's broad street redolent of sugary mead and honey scent. There many a lofty palace rose, like Bindia or the Lord of Snows, and with sweet murmur sparkling rills leaped lightly down the sheltering hills. On many a glorious palace raised for prince and noble Lakshman gazed. Like clouds of pale hue they shone, with fragrant wreaths that hung thereon. There wealth of jewels was enshrined, and fairer gems of womankind. There gleamed of noble height and size, like Indra's mansion in the skies. Protected by a crystal fence of rock, the royal residence, with roof and turret high and bright, like Mount Kailasa's loftiest height. There blooming trees, Mahendra's gift, high over the walls were seen to lift their golden-fruited boughs that made, with leaf and flower, delicious shade. He saw a band of banners wait, wielding their weapons at the gate, where golden portals flashed between, celestial garlands red and green. Within Sugriva's fair abode, unchecked the mighty hero strode, as when the son of autumn shrouds his glory in a pile of clouds. Through 7 wide courts he quickly passed, and reached the royal tower at last, where seats were set with couch and bed, of gold and silver richly spread. While the young chieftain's feet drew near, the sound of music reached his ear, as the soft breathings of the flute came blending with the voice and lute. Then beauty showed her youth and grace, and very charm of form and face. Soft bright-eyed creatures, fair and young, gay garlands round their necks were hung, and greater charms to each were lent by richest dress and ornament. He saw the calm attendants wait about their lord in careless state. Hard women's girdles chime in sweet accordance with their tinkling feet. He heard the anklets' silvery sound, he saw the calm that reigned around, and over him, as he listened, came a rush of rage, a flood of shame. He drew his bowstring, with the clang, from east to west the welkin rang. Then in his modest mood withdrew a little from the lady's view, and sternly silent stood apart, while wrath for Rama filled his heart. Sugriva knew the sounding string, and at the call the banner king sprang swiftly from his golden seat, and feared the coming prince to meet. Then with cold lips that terror dried, to beauteous Tara thus he cried, "What cause of anger, O my spouse, fair with the charm of lovely brows, sets Lakshman's gentle breast on fire, and brings him in unwonted ire? Say, canst thou see, O faultless dame, a cause to fill his soul with flame? For there must be a reason when such fury steers the king of man. Reveal the scene, if sin of mine anger the lord of Raghu's line, or go thyself, his race subdue, and with soft words his favour woo. Soon as on thee his eyes are set, his heart this anger will forget, for men like him of lofty mind are never stern with womankind. First let thy gentle speech disarm his fury, and his spirit charm, and I, from fear or peril free, the conqueror of his foes, will see. She hard, with faltering steps and slow, with eyes that shone with trembling glow, with gold-girt body gently bent, to meet the stranger prince she went. When Lakshman saw the banner queen, with tranquil eyes and modest mien, before the dame he bent his head, and anger at her presence fled. Made bold by draughts of wine, and cheered by Lakshman's look, no more she feared, and in the trust his favour lent, she thus addressed him eloquent. Whence springs thy burning fury, say? Who dares thy will to disobey? Who checks the maddened flames that seize on forests full of withered trees? Then Lakshman spoke, her mind to ease, his kind reply in words like these. Thy lord his days in pleasure spends, heedless of duty and of friends. Nor dost thou mark, though fondly true, the evil path his steps pursue. He cares not for affairs of state, nor us forlorn and desolate, but sits a mere spectator still, a sensual slave to pleasure's wheel. 4 months were fixed, the time agreed, when he should help us in our need. But, bound in toils of pleasure fast, he sees not that the months are past. Where beats the heart with draughts of wine, to virtue or to gain incline? Hast thou not heard those draughts destroy virtue and gain and love and joy? For those who, helped at need, refuse, their aid in turn their virtue lose. And they who scorn a friend disdain, a treasure not may buy again. Thy Lord has cast his friend away, nor feared from virtue's path to stray. If this be true, declare, O dame, who knowest duty's every claim, what further work remains for us, deceived and disappointed thus? She listened, for his words were kind, where virtue showed with gain combined. And thus in turn the prince addressed, as hope was rising in his breast. No time, no cause of wrath I see, with those who live and honour thee, and thou shouldst bear without offence thy servant's fitful negligence. I know the seasons glide away, while Rama maddens at the delay. I know what deed our thanks has earned, I know that grace should be returned. But still I know, whatever befall, that conquering love is lord of all. Now were Sugriva's thoughts purchased by one observing passion, rest. But he, whom sensual joys debase, heeds not the claim of time and place, and sees not with his blinded sight his duty or his gain aright. O pardon him who loves me, spare the banner caught in pleasure's snare, and once again let Rama grace with favour him who rules our race. Even royal saints, whose chief delight was penance and austerest rite, at love's commandment have unbent, beguiled by sweetest blandishment. And now Sugriva, roused at last, the order to his lords has passed, and, long by love and bliss delayed, wakes all on fire, their hopes to aid. A countless host his city fills, new gathered from 1,000 hills, impetuous chiefs who were at need, each varied form his legions lead. Come then, O hero, kept aloof by modest awe, nor fear reprove. A faithful friend, untouched by blame, may look upon another's dame. He passed within, by Tara pressed, and by his own impatient breast. Refulgent there in sun-like sheen, Sugriva on his throne was seen. Gay garlands round his neck were twined, and Ruma by her lord reclined. End of Cantos 31, 32, and 33.